Hello everyone, my name is Pavel Shabatsky. I'm a composer, and in this video I want to share a process behind my latest music for a horror game I worked on. I want to walk you through some of the sounds and ideas and instrumentation choices, some of the plugins I used, and the implementation of the music within the game. I composed 2 tracks for the game. I think I'll just do the first one in this video and then a separate video for the second one. By the way, both tracks are available at my channel, so if you want to have an uninterrupted listen to them first, you can find them there. Okay, that's it for the intro, I guess. Let's dive right in. Let's look at how this music functions in the game. Both tracks I'm about to show you fall under what I would call a classic chase music category, meaning different layers or sections of music transitioning based on the distance between the player and the monster chasing him. Let's have a look at the first one, the farmer boss. The implementation works like this. There are 3 layers, each is 32 seconds long and perfectly loopable. Layer 1 starts playing when the monster spawns in the area. It's just a subtle, creepy ambient bed. It keeps looping, and when the monster gets closer to the player, the second layer fades in. It adds more tension and feeling of danger. Now when the monster gets even closer and starts chasing the player, the third layer kicks in, and it's just a kind of a madness layer. There is also a stinger, so when the monster catches the player, we get this loud jump scare-ish impact. Welcome to Reaper. It's the DAW I use. This is the farmer boss track. So as I said, 3 layers. You have layer 1 here, layer 2, and layer 3 down here. Let's go one by one. The first layer, let me just play a little bit. All right. First, let me show you the main elements that make up the sound of this layer, which are the ditch pulsar, a didgeridoo, and these 2 string clusters. They are just evolving through time, high and low strings. And so let's listen to the didgeridoo by itself. Cool. So what that originally is just me playing a long note on a didgeridoo. By the way, a lot of these sounds are recorded live. So this is what it sounds like originally. So just a long note. It did some EQ and some pitch correction, and also adding an octave below. And then one of the main ingredients is this free amp emulation plugin set on basically adding a little bit of drive. This automation line you see right here, this automation curve, that is ramping up the drive up and down. Forgot to activate it, of course. There we go. And then it's just a tremolo plugin. That's the pulsing. And basically just compression and some more EQ, taming the low end and adding a little bit of brightness here, and we have the final sound. So that's like the pulse bass or something in this track, and it's loud and it adds a lot of character. I mean, it's the main character in this, and these guys are basically kind of ambient, but they're still pretty present. And those are, I think, the Spitfire Lab strings, but I'm not sure anymore. Let's see, what else do we have here? We have percussions, and percussions are mostly live. There's this guy, the brushed nipple gongs, which is a cool plugin I use a lot. I love the sound. And so that sounds like this. Then we have some snare brushes recorded against my leg. I'll come back to this guy right here. We have some shakers here. And some more gongs. In the string area, the green tracks, we have also the solo violin. So we have a pizzicato note. And we have this classic cliche sul ponticello tremolo with the glissandi, kind of a staple horror music sound. Very much like Dead Space reminiscent, and some more here. So that's just me on my old violin that actually only has 2 strings at the moment, but you know, it still works. And then we have these ear candies right down here. So this guy, so let me explain something. This boss, he has a sight or sickle instead of his hand. So I was thinking I want to sneak in a sound of sharpening a blade, something metallic and something harsh and high-pitched that would suggest this, you know, this blade sharpening thing. And I experimented with like actual sound effects of swords being sharpened, but it just sounded too, you know, too obvious and kind of weird. And in the end, I decided to try something like bowing a soda can, and that actually worked nice. So I recorded it twice, just using the violin bow. I just cut open the soda can. I cut off the top of it and bowed against the edge, and that's how you get this sound. With some reverb on it and stuff. And it connects to this impact that is just basically a mallet played on an empty soda can again. So they connect together like this. So that's just a little detail in there. And the last thing in this layer is this thing called a squeaker. And well, let me play it. So what that originally is me sucking air through a straw against the bottom of an empty coffee cup. And so originally the audio without any processing sounds, kind of funny actually, like this. So all I did there was pitched it up, added some saturation, compression, some harsh EQ. As you can see, it's really cutting all the low end and boosting the higher frequencies even after the saturation. And then this proximity plugin is bringing it closer and then further. You'll see how the automation works. So there's like a little duck at the end. And that actually connects to the violin pizzicato. So I guess you can see that it's like a theme of mine that I like to take a sound and connect it to a different sound, almost like it's resolving into this another instrument or color. Anyway, let's move on. We have layer number 2. In the game, you would never hear just a layer 2 or just a layer 3. You would always hear them together with the previous layers. So, but you know, because I want to show you the individual elements, let's just play what a layer 2 sounds like by itself, just a little bit. And so on. Again, we have a kind of a signature sound here, which is this bass guitar. Originally not a bass guitar, actually. Originally it's a funk guitar from Native Instruments, a free plugin. It's like the factory library funk guitar. And sounds kind of weird by itself. Sounds kind of funny. Yeah, so EQ, compression and stuff, and saturation, but the main element here is again this guy, the free amp, adding a lot of drive and shaping the sound. Sounds like this. And now I just took a pitch shifter and put it an octave down, added some final EQ, just getting rid of some annoying frequency right there, and boosting the 10K to get some more ringing out of it. So yeah, so there's actually frequencies missing at the spot. I was trying to pull them up, but there's nothing there. So this is actually not doing anything, I think. Anyway, this is paired with a double bass, staccato double bass, again from Native Instruments. I didn't do much to this, just some EQ, made it kind of brighter and more airy. And this is just a staccato patch from, again, the factory library of Native Instruments, the orchestral plugins. So the bass itself. And with the guitar, or the bass guitar together, it gets really, really nasty. So that's like the main element here. Another main element, and this was a note from the developer, so he wanted me to add something that would make you feel like the monster is creeping up on you. It's catching up to you. It's getting closer. And he suggested some kind of string sound, some aggressive strings. And so I recorded myself again on the old violin like 5 or 8 times, can't really remember. This is already bounced audio. I got rid of the original to save space. So I recorded this kind of like a dissonant chord or some kind of altered 7th chord with some extensions, I guess. And let's see what's on there. Just a volume adjustment. So this is really crude. This is It's an actual sound. I think originally there was some reverb and compression on it, maybe. Sounds like this. So it's going to the to a reverb that's in this project, and most of the tracks are going into the reverb. That's a common reverb for all these instruments, so it sounds like it's in one space. We have some new percussions. We have this grit kit, which is from Evolved Mutations. It's where is it? This guy, Evolved Mutations. It's just called Grit Kit Slim. I just put some EQ on it, and we have like a bass drum or like a low drums layered here. So it's like a lot of crackle on it. It's kind of broken sound. And then we have the higher percussions. Oops. It's kind of lagging for some reason. I don't know. The OBS Studio is doing that for some reason. Let me play the whole... Oh, actually, there's one more thing I didn't show you. It's a piano. And the piano and the Bartók pizzicato. So the piano is doing these kind of waves in a low register. It's really laggy now for some reason. Oh, it's better. Now it's working. Strange. Anyway, this kind of like a fake delay thing, which is going against the rest of the instruments rhythmically. Let me play just that spot. Yeah. And oh, and there's this little string effect. I think it's a glissando. Yeah, so that's just me and the violin again, and sounds like there's a lot of saturation or some kind of distortion on it. Let me see. Oh, saturation. Not that hard, actually. I think I just played it very aggressively. Great, now let's go to the last layer. Or actually, let's listen to the first and the second layer together now. You can go from the same spot as before, from the middle. Yeah, so I took some extra care with the elements, so you can see that this is kind of sparse, but now the elements from the second layer are kind of filling in. So this guy, when he's playing, he still has some space because there's a silence in here. This guy also has a silence, but there's the piano and the Bartók pizzicatos playing together with him. The squealer has a space in the beginning. The strings are coming in later on, and so on. You know, the glissandi is played in the middle of the shaker. This kind of a shaker wave, and this tremolo again has enough space here to be heard. So that was like a hard thing about this approach, that I had to be careful about not cramming the space a lot. Now let's go to the third layer. Again, you wouldn't hear that just by itself in a game, but let's just hear a little bit. so that's very aggressive just by itself, because there's not much low. There's a lot of high frequencies here, so it's kind of harsh to ear. But when it's mixed together with the previous layers, it kind of sits better with your ears. Again, we would have a main element here, which are those stabs of strings and a choir. So the choir is just doing like a random cluster staccato shout. So this is Epic Choir from Spitfire Audio. Just short staccato syllables, random. And then we have the string madness, I called it. And we have high string stabs. The first ones, those are originally a virtual instrument again, a MIDI bounced into audio. And you can see this wave has a little bit more sustain. And then the second layer is same rhythm, also these kind of like random clusters recorded live on my violin, and the wave is a little shorter, it's more aggressive and attacky, so those two are kind of complementing each other. So it sounds weak by itself, but when played together, and then when you add the choir, yeah, so we have like the Bernard Herrmann psycho shower scene kind of thing. And I also recorded these answers in a lower mid-range or lower range, again on my violin, going on offbeat. So it's going like tick tock, like a little clockwork. Cool. Now, the completely new element that is introduced in the third layer are brass instruments, and we have live recorded French horns recorded by my friend. Originally, again, like 5 or 6 tracks, and I just had her to do this kind of crazy climb up, this kind of elephant effect, this glissando, 5 times, and then just layered it. And then I took the same thing, put an octave up, plug-in on it, and it sounds kind of like a trumpet. And together, it sounds amazing. I think. I like how it sounds. And then we have some MIDI brass here. We have trombones and bass trombones. They're just doing these low Brahms or whatever you would call them. So you have a staccato trombones, adding some attack and some accent, and then you have normal trombones just playing, tenor trombones just playing this kind of weird chord, and then you have bass trombone just rumbling down there really low. So that's the brass. We have some new percussions here. We have claves. So that's again native instruments, orchestral patches, and then we have djembe choked. This is a live recorded djembe. I just did one layer playing it by fingers and the second layer playing it by the snare brushes, and then you combine it. And I recorded it in a little slower tempo, so I sped it up, and it gave it this kind of like choked sound. It sounds like a kind of like a toy djembe. Yeah, and it gets more punchy like that, and it gets through the mix. And then we have this drum ensemble, which honestly I have no idea what that was originally. I think that might be the djembe again, some percussive effects I did. I think I was drumming on a table or something, and then maybe it was like toms from some kind of drum kit plugin. Again, it's originally more and more things together. Yeah, so I definitely hear the djembe in there, but there's something else too. So together, all the percussive elements in the third layer sound like this. Cool. And last thing we have here is down here the what I call the piccolo plus strings harmonics. So this is again like it's like an ambient bed of a really high pitched sounds of like a la Torek piccolo runs up there, and string harmonics, and it's quiet, but because it's so high, it still cuts through the mix a little bit, and it opens the sound. Oops, didn't have to solo it. So that is just there to add some flavor. Let's play second and third layer together now. See what that sounds like. Cool. And of course the first layer would be playing as well. So the whole thing together. Let me collapse this. So all three layers go like this. Yeah, and it's almost like the first layer is not hearable anymore. Sometimes you can hear the metallic sound down here. The squealer is pretty hearable at the beginning, and but overall it's just adding some textures, and it's all kind of working together in some way. I would say it was a little harder than the Dr. Boss I did, because I used a different technique for the other one. So I think I'll do another video about that one, because I don't want this video to be too long. But I will do another video about the Dr. Boss track, which basically, instead of using layers, it's more like there's 3 separate tracks and you can jump between them, so only one of them is playing at the time, so you have a little bit more freedom in that kind of approach. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something or you found it interesting, and see you next time.